Happy Monday. All right, good. We are live everywhere. Fingers crossed, audio is okay today. Coming to you from our traveling home right now, our RV, and we're having so much fun. If you want to see some of the behind the scenes, we're at the beach right now. It is super beautiful. I'm sitting here looking out at boats and docks, and it's just gorgeous. So anyway, follow me. If you're not following on Instagram, follow there because you'll see some of the behind the scenes, and we're having the best time. But I wanted to show up and talk about something that was on my heart for you today, because I know how often this happens when we're in the up level, which is, what do you do when it feels like everything is falling apart? And let me know in the comments. Hey, Nancy, let me know in the comments. Hey, is it Rebecca? Let me know if you're there. Like, does it feel like everything is falling apart in some way, shape, or form? Hey, Laura, so good to see you. Good evening. I think, right? Good evening. So this is a quote that I love to think about, because I've had many moments in my own life and in my business when it feels like everything is falling apart. And it is this quote, which is that in the middle of a surgery, it looks like a murder. In the middle of a surgery, it looks like a murder, right? And in sales and in your business, there are these certain pivot points and inflection points. And I'll use revenue as kind of the um, how we gauge it, but there can be other pivot points and inflection points too. But oftentimes, when you look at growing your sales or growing your business, if you're an entrepreneur, it's like hitting that first 100K, right? And then going from 100 to, sometimes it's 300, but I like to go from 100 to a million. I think that's more fun. Then hitting your first million, then going from 1 to 3 million, then 3 to 10, etc. And here is the thing, is that what worked before to get to that first point, it will not work for your next up level. And so there's almost this reimagining that has to happen for every stage and every phase. But you will feel, if you don't know what's going on, you will think everything is falling apart. Okay. And again, let me know in the comments, have you been there? Lucy on LinkedIn is saying power through. Well, yeah, you've got to, right? And I think that's such a good point. And the mindset of it is so important, because if we think that everything is falling apart and we're doing something wrong, then that powering through feels so much harder, right? Rather than if we know, ooh, this means I'm in the up level. And so, as per usual, I was not as per usual, but I was thinking this morning, I was out doing some yoga out on the dock here and overlooking just the water, and just thinking, like, what is the most powerful message I can share today? What would be the most powerful thing? And usually these lives are inspired by what's going on in my life at the time. And so, what came up is, first of all, things are not all falling apart in my life. So I want to be very clear about that. Actually, we're having some amazing things happen. But we as a team, like, we're in an up level too. Hey, Charity. Oh, hey, Camilla. Oh, all my shoe sales ladies are hopping on. It's so good to see you. So good to see you. We're talking about what to do when it feels like everything is falling apart. So personally, for our team, we're in that inflection point going from 1 to 3 million. And so everything that worked to get to the first one doesn't, some of it works, but a lot of it doesn't work for the next level. And so we as a team, and I as a leader, have been in the process of systematically dismantling so many things that pretty much worked before, but that no longer work for where we're going. And so when I look at it, if you follow me on Instagram, you may have seen this past weekend, like, I was taking every process that I've done manually in the past, because we really grew to our first million with a very bare bones team. And we're bringing on more team now, but I did all this stuff manually. My team and I did all this stuff manually. And so now we're looking at how can we automate it? And I'm building out campaigns and putting my nerd hat on and doing all this stuff. And I'm like, I don't know if I'm breaking our business or if I'm improving it, but we're trying something different. But so we're really taking apart everything that used to work so that we can make space for something better. And that is it's so critical to do because we can't grip onto the old when we're ready to ascend to something new. But you've got to know with that, it's going to look like a murder. Or it's going to look like if you're into baking, right? Like let's say maybe you're into baking and you're like, I'm going to bake something delicious this week. Well, I don't know about you, but if you're like me, how does your kitchen look in the middle of that baking project? Does it look clean and neat and orderly? Or does it look like all hell broke loose in there, right? Camilla, yes. Oh, absolutely. Patty, hello. Sierra, hello. And so I just want to let you know, number one, if if it feels like things are falling apart, there is nothing wrong. In fact, everything is going right for you. Everything is going right because it means you're in the up level. So, three things I want to encourage you to do if it feels like everything is falling apart. Thank you so much for the hearts and let me know, can you relate to this or are you there right now? Like we're in it right now in certain ways. Certain parts of my business right now it's like, "Ooh, there's been a murder in there, but it's coming together. It's really just surgery." Looks like all hell broke loose, right? Patty, you and I should get together and bake something. We would have like double all hell breaking loose, right? Oh, Janaya, hi. So good to see you. So good to see you. Holly, yes, in the messy middle. Exactly. Exactly. And so, three things to know slash do if it feels like everything's falling apart. Number one, get excited. Okay. Get excited because it means you're in your quantum leap. This is a great thing. And if it doesn't feel like things are like unstable or falling apart to some extent, usually what that means is we've gotten too comfortable. Like that's the only place where things don't feel that way is when we're stagnant. And you can't be stagnant. You're either moving forward or you're moving backwards, right? So first thing is get excited. You're stepping up, you're up leveling. The second thing, you've got to be so open to reimagining everything. So, again, we're just going to use revenue here, use your sales as a benchmark. But let's say you want to go from six figures to a million. Like, let's just use that for an example. So, you've got to be open to the fact that everything you did to get to your first six figures, it's not going to be the same to get to your first million. And that's okay. So we want to be very attached to what's the end result that we're going for, but not how do we get there. And like I said, in our own business right now and in what we're doing, it's like looking at all of these things that we've kind of just done manually. A lot of them have been done manually up until this point. And now to keep growing and scaling the way that I desire us to and to keep impacting and serving more people, we've got to automate a lot of stuff that I was sending out manual emails for a long time, right? Like it doesn't work to get to the next level. So be open to reimagining how it could look. But the way that I like to think about it, Price Pritchett in U Squared calls it the elegant solution. What is that elegant solution that would get you to where you want to go? Thank you so much for the hearts. And there's a principle in physics called the principle of least action. And so if you look at the way things work in nature or the way things work in the natural world, it's about least effort in nature. Like if you look at how water flows, right? It goes around the rock. And I think a lot of times our culture, our society is to get to that next up level, just keep doing more of the same of what you've been doing, but do it more or do it harder or do it. Thank you so much for the hearts. Do it like faster. And that's not actually how it happens. Can you get there? Maybe. Will it take a long time and feel really hard? Absolutely. So start thinking about employing that principle of least effort into your up level. And it doesn't mean that you're lazy, it means that you're efficient. And it means that you're thinking differently. And it means that you're thinking bigger. And what's the thing we could do? We stay focused on the goal. And then what is the least the elegant solution to get there to what it would look like? And oftentimes it's going to look very different from what you were doing previously. Coach Leah is in the house. Good morning. Good morning. And then here's the third thing. You've got to get in the practice of gratitude, which is so important, especially when it feels like things are falling apart, right? Because how many times have you had this happen where you set a next level goal for yourself and suddenly like all the clients that you had fall away or contracts don't go through that you thought were going to go through, or your bank account is overdrafted, right? And you're like, oh my gosh, I'm shooting so much bigger than I should have been shooting. Let me shrink back. That's not it, my friend. That is not it at all. All that's happening is that number one, the people that aren't in alignment with where you're going, they're falling away. And that's fine because it's just like if you want to buy new clothes, right? You can't have a closet stuffed full of clothes and put new clothes in there. So guess what? A lot of the clients that got you to the point where you are, if you check in with yourself and you do a real honest inventory, I bet some of them are not your dream clients. And I bet some of them aren't going to value you at that next level you're going to. And so we got to be okay with letting them release. Either we release them or they release themselves. And so there's nothing wrong when that happens. You're just making space for the new to come in that's aligned with where you're going. That's the law of sacrifice. We've always got to sacrifice something for something else. So we want to be sacrificing something of a lower nature for something of a higher nature. Or let's say, like for example, in our business, and I'm always happy to share whatever I can that's helpful. Like as we've really brought on a new team and up leveled what we're doing, like we took a look at our systems and we were like, there's some stuff that kind of feels like a mess in here. And that, like, there was part of me that wanted to get stressed out. And there was part of me that wanted to be like, oh my gosh, like, how are we ever going to build this thing the way I want to build it? I didn't let myself go there. I practiced gratitude, and it had to be a very intentional practicing of gratitude of, okay, I said, I want this goal. I want this level of impact. I want this level of service in the world. So I know that I'm going to have mirrored back to me everything that gets to shift in order to have that level of impact and that level of service. And one of the things in our company was we get to tighten up our systems and how we do things. So we're in the process of doing that. And it's not all perfect. And I'm sure some of you who are my clients, maybe you've gotten an email with the wrong date on it, or you've gotten some things from us that aren't perfect. And it just is what it is, but it's part of the process. And so we have to be very unattached to how it looks. We get to be very unattached to things being perfect, and we get to practice gratitude. Because the other piece of this is that when you say, I want to go from here to here, well, the person who's here, the person who has this level of sales, this level of clients, this level of whatever, it's a different person than the version of you who has this reality. And so you're going to get to be mirrored back all the things that trigger you, that aren't in alignment with where you're going. You're going to get to see what are the habits that I've just fallen into that don't actually serve me where I'm going next. You're going to get to see and be mirrored back. What are the old concepts and the old belief systems that I've been gripping onto that, again, aren't in alignment with where I'm going? Because the key to all of this, if you want to quantum leap it, and if you want to go from, again, 1 to a million or 1 to 3 or whatever the result is in your life, serve this number of clients to this number of clients, you're going to have to be a different person than the person who started off at the level you're at. So it's everything we do in the She Sells brand, it's about alignment from your mind to your heart to your actions to your energy. Are you showing up in alignment with your goal? Because that's how you quantum leap it. And when I made the decision in our company that we're going to go to a certain, like, we're building an 8-figure business right now. We are, and I don't know how long it's going to take, but I know for the level of service that I desire, for the level of impact I desire, for the mission, like that's what we're doing. When I first said that, it was like, that feels big, right? It felt big the first time I said it. But as I said it again and again, I still had no idea how it was going to happen. But as I said it again and again, I could feel less resistance to the idea. And my brain started giving me ideas. Here's how you systematize this. Here's what you do there. And so you will have to be aligned energetically and inwardly with the version of you who has the goal first before the full thing happens in your physical world. But it is coming, it's happening for you, but it's all about alignment. So if we want to do this powerfully, we don't get to be pissed off, right? When something goes wrong, we do, and then we move on. We give ourselves a few minutes and then we move on. We look for, wow, what can I be grateful for in this moment? I had a coach. This was a very powerful exercise. One of the things she would have us do was when things were going quote unquote wrong, when things felt hard, write out 10 reasons why we were thrilled it was happening. I'm thrilled this is happening because I'm thrilled this is happening because I'm getting to practice gratitude. I'm expanding my heart, my capacity to receive joy. I'm seeing things that get to be shifted in my business and in my personal reality to create the outcome I'm looking for. So I'm thrilled this is happening because can be a very powerful journaling prompt for you if you're struggling to find gratitude in the moment. But it makes all the difference because when you know and when you create the belief system that everything is always working for you, when you decide to go for the up level, you got to know you're going to feel like there are things where you're failing. You're going to feel like there are things where it's falling apart. The key is to know what's going on and to know that you're bigger than all of it, and that you got to keep showing up as bigger than it. So it's like you got to pull from within the recesses of your soul and practice some of these things, but know it's happening for you, and know that everything around you is just shifting to create space for that new reality you're calling in. So again, in the middle of a surgery, it looks like a murder. There's nothing wrong. You're just up leveling. Let me pause and read comments here on Instagram. Charity is saying, personally, we are being invited to structure out our calendar more intentionally into a higher level of leadership of self in this season. That is beautiful. Exactly. Exactly. And so it's like, so that's it, right? So it's perfect. Thank you for mirroring back to me. And I'm sure there are things that have happened for you maybe where it's like, oh, that didn't feel good in relation to the calendar, or that didn't feel good in relation to self-care. But that's the only way we know that there's a change that gets to be made in this season, right? And then Charity saying definitely parts that are dying away. Sometimes that's painful, but it's exciting when I look at what's being birthed. Exactly. It's so powerful. Patty's saying I'm going to be building 3 houses per year and selling them as soon as I build them. Amazing. 5 houses per year. Yes, I like that so much more. Absolutely. So then it's just knowing, right, Patty, and for everybody else who's here, like, awesome. So you're going to get to be mirrored back circumstances, situations, beliefs that get to shift to be the woman who flips 5 houses a year, right? And that's great. It's everything. You're being refined in the process. There's nothing wrong. You're just literally becoming the person who has that outcome and has that reality. Showing up bigger than it from Charity. Yes, that's exactly it. Thank you. Whoever said superb, for some reason, LinkedIn is not giving me your name, but thank you so much. I'm glad this is speaking to you. That's it, my friends. What to do when it feels like everything is falling apart. You celebrate. You say, heck yeah, I'm in the quantum leap. I'm in the up level. Let's do this thing. So that's it. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your Monday. Again, if you're watching on Facebook or LinkedIn or YouTube, come follow me on Instagram. I'm at Elise Archer. If you want to see some behind the scenes of our RV trip this weekend and the beautiful beach that we're at. We are having fun over here. So send me a DM if I can be of service. Oh, thank you, Charity. I love you. Thank you so much. Send me a DM if I can be of service. I am here to help support you, and wishing you a beautiful, beautiful start to your week.